Wicked. Elphaba and Glinda's relationship timeline. Explained. Wicked is a story about corrupt governments, discrimination, and propaganda, but it is also largely the story of the friendship between the Wicked Witch of the West and Glinda the Good Witch, beginning long before Dorothy arrives in Oz. The narrative started out as Gregory Maguire's novel Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West, which positions Elphaba Throp as the main character and Belinda Upland as her unlikely and ironic friend. The Wicked book was greatly changed when it was adapted for Broadway, including the friendship being brought to the forefront. In 2024, Wicked was revitalized with a movie adaptation based on the show rather than the book. The Wicked cast is stunningly led by Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande Butera as Elphaba and Belinda/Glinda, respectively. With amazing individual performances and larger-than-life chemistry, Erivo and Grande Butera perfectly capture the tumultuous, affectionate, supportive, and ethereal dynamic between the two enemies to friends. Elphaba and Glinda undergo a shared arc of seeing each other as foregone rivals, before realizing the ways that their personalities, fears, and aspirations actually complement each other, and that they will need one another for what is to come. Elphaba and Belinda meet and accidentally become roommates at Shiz University. Elphaba and Glinda meet when they both arrive at Shiz University, Glinda as a student and Elphaba merely helping drop off her sister Nessarose. Glinda has an exaggerated reaction of shock to Elphaba's green skin before making an offer to help her once she is a sorceress to impress everyone else. Elphaba immediately calls Glinda out as a panderer to others' opinions and dismisses her. This might have been the end of things, but Elphaba's accidental display of magic leads to Madame Morrible insisting she enroll. Glinda, trying to win over Madame Morrible, runs up to them, which Morrible mistakenly interprets as Glinda volunteering to rue with Elphaba. While their fights may seem superficial, Glinda is also deeply jealous of Elphaba's natural magic power and her being favored by Madame Morrible, as Glinda's lifelong dream is to be a sorceress. The two devolve into a chaotic school rivalry of the popular girl versus the nerdy girl, of pranks, insults, and constantly rearranging the room, in which the entire school takes Glinda's side, demonstrating an early form of the motive of mob mentality in Wicked. Elphaba and Glinda become friends when everyone at Shiz goes to a party. When Fiyero arrives at Shiz, he convinces everyone to go out dancing at the Ozdust Ballroom. Spurred on by her friends, Glinda gifts a fashionably distasteful hat to Elphaba as a prank and invites her out with them as well. However, Elphaba interprets this as a genuine olive branch and immediately goes to Madame Morrible and gets Glinda into her sorcery seminar, leading Glinda to seriously reflect on the kind of person she has been and the kind of person Elphaba is, right before Elphaba shows up at the Ozdust and is mocked by everyone for her hat. Elphaba and Glinda's natural chemistry begins to come through as they very quickly confide in each other. Glinda saves the moment by stepping up and dancing with Elphaba in a beautiful, instinctive display of reconciliation. Elphaba and Glinda's natural chemistry begins to come through as they very quickly confide in each other, including Elphaba telling Glinda about her difficult upbringing. Glinda also becomes committed to making Elphaba popular. The rest of the school is more friendly towards her after she becomes friends with Glinda. Elphaba and Glinda are friends at school for an undetermined amount of time after this, likely a few weeks to months, and Glinda becomes Elphaba's biggest supporter in her magical education. Glinda, now Glinda, comes with Elphaba to the Emerald City to meet the wizard. Despite Elphaba's growing feelings for Fiyero, who is in a relationship with Glinda, and Glinda changing her name to Glinda for mostly superficial reasons, claiming it to be an act of protest against Dr. Dilliman's arrest, the young women's bond is incredibly compassionate and enduring. Elphaba invites Glinda to come to the Emerald City with her at the last minute for no reason other than she wants her company along the way. The two have a fun day in the city before things take a dark turn, and their fundamental differences come to light. Upon the realization of the true nature of the Wizard of Oz, Glinda immediately tries to calm Elphaba down and maintain a cordial negotiation, while Elphaba does not hesitate in stealing the grimoire and trying to escape. Defying gravity begins with them voicing the things about the other that truly do frustrate them. However, when Elphaba asserts that she will not cooperate with the wizard's corrupt regime, the two are able to respect that they each need to take a different path based on who they are. Elphaba flees, leaving Glinda as Madame Morrible's only sorcery student. Elphaba and Glinda don't see each other for some time, while Glinda becomes the wizard's spokesperson. Wicked, for Good will presumably closely follow the plot of the second half of the show, which picks up after another unclear time jump, probably at least a couple of years later. Glinda the Good is now the wizard's spokesperson and the regime's counter to the Wicked Witch of the West. Glinda greatly enjoys public adoration and avoids saying anything specifically condemning her friend, but still goes along with the wizard and Madame Morrible's propaganda. In the time Elphaba has been on the run, she has not seen Glinda at all. Elphaba and Glinda reunite at Glinda and Fiero's engagement ball, and Fiero leaves with Elphaba. Glinda also announces her engagement to Fiero, and a ball is thrown in the Emerald City to celebrate shortly after. Elphaba arrives under the pretense of freeing the flying monkeys, but also probably because of Fiero. Glinda has the rug ripped out from under her, and is probably questioning years of her life when Fiero leaves her for Elphaba pretty much as soon as he knows Elphaba is there. It is a moment of betrayal on both sides. Elphaba is mostly happy that Fiero reciprocates her feelings, while Glinda thoughtlessly suggests a plan to capture Elphaba in her anger. Elphaba and Glinda get in a huge fight after Nessarose is killed. Unbeknownst to Glinda, Madame Morrible summons the storm which brings Dorothy to Oz and kills Nessarose. Elphaba and Glinda run into each other again at the site of Nessa's death, where tensions finally boil over. They are both fed up with the other's approach to what is going on in Oz, while Glinda is still furious about Fiero. What results is a slapstick fight that effectively captures their chaotic feelings. Elphaba is then nearly arrested, but Fiero intervenes to save her. While she is able to flee, he is captured himself, despite Glinda's protests. Glinda comes to warn Elphaba, and they make peace before parting ways. Having realized the truth about Madame Morrible, Glinda goes to Elphaba's castle to try to persuade her to free Dorothy and warn her that she is in true danger this time. They receive news of Fiero's supposed death and are both heartbroken. A reconciliation unfolds, but also again recognition of their differences, as Elphaba tells Glinda she must lead Oz now with the skills Elphaba never had. Elphaba gives Glinda the grimoire, and the two tearfully reflect on how they have changed each other's lives in song. Glinda may never know that Elphaba lived, but the story demonstrates that their values and how they set out to change the world will always be influenced by each other. Elphaba then confronts Dorothy and is supposedly melted. A devastated Glinda ousts the wizard and has Morrible arrested. She is left knowing that she must rule well for the sake of her friend. However, she does not know that both Elphaba and Fiero survived and fled Oz together. This, perhaps, is Wicked's most heartbreaking aspect. Glinda may never know that Elphaba lived, but the story demonstrates that their values and how they set out to change the world will always be influenced by each other.